Peace. This is about, was Michael Jackson ever married? Find out who he dated. Now, as I remember, Michael Jackson was married to Lisa Marie Presley for 2 years. And they got a divorce after that because I guess it wasn't working out at all for them. Michael Jackson, the legendary king of pop, died in 2009 from a combination of lethal doctor-administered drugs at only 50 years old. Jackson definitely died before his time. He left behind 30 children and a catalog of incredible songs such as Billie Jean, Thriller, Bad, I Just Can't Stop Loving You, and Black or White. Yes, so Michael Jackson had passed on in 2009 from a combination of lethal doctor-administered drugs, and of course Dr. Conrad Murray was the one that administered the drugs. And he was charged with voluntary manslaughter. He had 4 years of prison, but he only got 2 years and they let him out because of good behavior. Michael Jackson was 50 years old at the time, and of course the 3 children he left behind. And of course there are songs that he left a catalog for is Billie Jean, Thriller, Bad, I Just Can't Stop Loving You, and Black or White. And of course these are the songs that he had done and sold millions. Jackson's legacy has been tarnished by a string of child molestation charges that followed him all throughout his career, but Jackson also had several high-profile relationships that have been much studied. So Jackson's legacy has been tarnished, and it's because of Wade Robson and James Safechuck. They lied on Michael Jackson saying that he touched them, this and that. And that wasn't true at all because both of them admitted of being liars. And of course, Michael Jackson would never do anything like that. People are lying on him saying, oh, well, da da da. No, they just don't want to hear the truth, so they just rather tell the lies, tarnish his name and his legacy and everything. And of course, here is Michael Jackson. He was performing in a concert in 1986. Michael Jackson grew up in the spotlight as the frontman of for the Jackson 5, a group comprised of him and his older brothers. Instead of playgrounds and field trips, Jackson spent his childhood years on a stage performing for fans all over the United States. And so Michael Jackson did grow up in a spotlight, and of course, he never got to be a child at all because his father had pushed him into into the music industry, of course, along with his brothers. And of course, he never had playgrounds or field trips, so Michael Jackson never really had any of those things in his life because of his father. The Jackson 5 eventually made it big, and young Michael Jackson became a worldwide sensation before ultimately branching out on his own, singing and dancing to hits like Thriller. Yes, so he had the Jackson 5 had eventually made it big, and of course Michael Jackson had branched out on his own after being a worldwide sensation, of course. And of course, here's I do a Twitter thing to beat it, and of course these are the people that are in the video for that song, Beat It. It was only natural that Jackson's earliest relationships were with fellow child stars. Jackson reportedly dated Brooke Shields when he was young, as well as young Oscar-winning actress Tatum O'Neal. So he had dated Brooke Shields, Tatum O'Neal when he was young. Those are his earliest relationships. Shields remained friends with Jackson throughout the rest of his life and even spoke at his memorial service in 2009. So Brooke Shields never dated uh, um, Michael Jackson, but they just remained as friends. That's all it was. She even spoke at his memorial service in 2009, and of course, um, Brooke Shields is doing good on her own. And of course, here's the Twitter thing of Michael Jackson. Jackson met Lisa Marie Presley, the only child of rock and roll legend Elvis Presley, when they were both very young. They didn't maintain contact for many years and met again in the early 90s when Jackson was a massive superstar and Presley was already married with 2 children. So Michael Jackson and Lisa Marie Presley, they met whenever very young. And of course, Lisa Marie Presley is the only daughter of Elvis Presley. They didn't maintain contact between Jackson and Lisa Marie Presley until they met again. And of course, she was already married with 2 children. Still, sparks flew, and the pair found that they had much in common. Following Presley's divorce from her first husband, Danny Keough, the two got married in May 1994. So, Lisa Marie Presley had divorced her first husband, Danny Keough, and of course she married him in May of 1994, and of course sparks flew between them two. Although Jackson and Presley proclaimed that they were very much in love, many questioned the timing of the relationship, as it was announced on the heels of Jackson's first child molestation charges. And of course, like I said, Wade Robson and James Safechuck, they are habitual liars because they did not tell the truth that Michael Jackson never did anything, and if they did, they said it the first time. And of course, they turned right around and backstabbed him after he had passed away and said, "Oh well, he touched me." No, that's a lie. Jackson and Presley proclaimed they were very much in love, and of course, and at the timing of the relationship, and it was announced on that time when the first child molestation charges. And of course, with Wade Robson and James Safechuck, they can never be trusted ever because of their lies. Jackson and Presley fiercely disputed the charges, but the marriage itself didn't last. Lisa Marie Presley filed for divorce in late 1996, and while she later admitted that she and Jackson continued to see each other following their divorce, as far as the public knew, that was the end of that chapter in Jackson's life. So Lisa Marie Presley did file for divorce in late 1996, and she later admitted that she and Jackson continued to see each other because of of all these lies that people are telling. And of course, with Wade Robson and James Safechuck, they ruined Michael Jackson for life by lying on him, saying, "Oh, he did this and did that." And of course, with Lisa Marie Presley, as far as the public knew, that was the end of that chapter in Jackson's life. So I can't even imagine of what Michael Jackson had went through with that divorce. And of course, here's another tweet that was posted on Twitter. Michael Jackson first met Debbie Rowe, a doctor's assistant in the late 1980s, but their romantic relationship didn't begin until after Jackson's divorce from Presley. So Michael Jackson met Debbie Rowe in the 1980s, and of course they didn't begin until Jackson's divorce from Presley. So after Lisa Marie Presley and Michael Jackson were divorced, he started seeing Debbie Rowe. Reportedly, Rowe told Jackson that she would be happy to have his children, and Jackson, wanted to become a father, agreed. Rowe and Jackson got married in November 1996, and Rowe would go on to have two children, a girl named Paris and a son named Prince. Okay, so Debbie Rowe agreed to marry Michael Jackson. Of course, it was after the divorce of Lisa Marie Presley, and she said that she would love for Michael Jackson to have her children. And of course, Jackson got married in November 1996, and Rowe would go on to have two children, a girl named Paris and a son named Prince, who are grown up now, except for Blanket. He's 17 years old. Rowe and Jackson divorced in October 1999, with Jackson taking full custody of the two children. Eventually, Jackson would go on to have a third child with an unknown surrogate mother, a son he named Blanket. From all reports, it seems as though Jackson was a devoted father who loved his children deeply. Yeah, so Michael Jackson loved his children deeply. There's no doubt about it, because, he cared about his children. He did everything he could to protect them. Of course, Rowe and Jackson got divorced in October 1999, and so Jackson decided to take full custody of the two children that him and Rowe had together. He had a third child by the unknown surrogate mother, and the third one was named Blanket. And Michael Jackson loved his children. You can never say that he didn't love them, because he did love them dearly. It is not known whether or not Jackson had any girlfriends before he died, but all in all, Jackson was married twice and in several romantic relationships. The King of Pop's music sales continue to prosper even though he is not around to enjoy the success, and in spite of continued controversy regarding possible child molestation, his fans still carry the torch for Jackson. Yeah, so of course, it was not whether or not Jackson had any girlfriends before he died. We don't know that. We're never going to know if he did or not. So, that part, I guess there will be never no closure. So, and of course, in several romantic relationships he may have had, I don't know. The King of Pop's music sales continue to prosper. So, in other words, his music is doing good, even though he's not around to enjoy it anymore. Regarding possible child molestation, his fans still carry the torch for Jackson. So, and of course, Wade Robson and James Safechuck, they're just jealous because they want the money and they can't have it because Michael Jackson has given the money to left the money for his children and the rest of his family. So this is why they made up those lies about Michael Jackson, saying, he did this, he did that. No, not true at all. Because when Michael Jackson was acquitted the first time for the child molestation, nothing happened. And then when he went back to court again for the second time being accused of child molestation, he was acquitted again. Nothing happened. That's why the lies are still continuing out of Wade Robson and James Safechuck, and then eventually those two are going to be arrested for lying on him. Leave your comments below. I'm out.